The world is watching the Middle East with great concern. In June of 2025, a dangerous conflict has erupted, drawing in major global powers. The situation began with an attack by Israel on Iran on June 12. This was quickly followed by a significant escalation. On June 21st, the United States launched its own airstrikes, targeting Iran's nuclear facilities. This direct American involvement officially brought Washington into the war, dramatically raising the stakes. For Iran, this created a moment of extreme peril, facing military action from two powerful adversaries simultaneously. The international community is now grappling with the consequences of this rapidly expanding conflict. Faced with this immense pressure, Iran feels deeply threatened and isolated. The government in Tehran sees the combined military actions of Israel and the United States as a direct threat to its national sovereignty and survival. U.S. officials have even spoken openly about the possibility of targeting Iran's leadership, raising fears of a push for regime change. This intense military and political pressure from the West has forced Iran to look outward for support. Without powerful friends, Iran risks being overwhelmed by the superior military and economic strength of its opponents. The nation's leaders are now urgently seeking assistance from any country willing to stand with them. This search for allies has led Iran to its most important global partners, Russia and China. Both countries have their own complex relationships with the United States and view the situation in the Middle East through the lens of their own strategic interests. They see an opportunity to counter American influence and reshape the global balance of power. For Iran, their support is not just helpful, it is essential. It provides a crucial counterbalance to the Western coalition aligned against it. The diplomatic, economic, and potential military backing from Moscow and Beijing offers Tehran a chance to withstand the immense pressure it is now facing on the world stage. As a result, the conflict is no longer just a regional dispute. It has become a critical test of international alliances. The support from Russia and China transforms the war from a one-sided confrontation into a much more complicated global chess match. Iran's ability to defend itself, to keep its economy from collapsing under sanctions, and to maintain its political standing depends heavily on the actions taken in Moscow and Beijing. These two major powers have chosen to help Iran, but they are doing so in very different ways, each reflecting their unique capabilities, priorities, and long-term goals for the region and the world. Russia's support for Iran has been loud, firm, and politically charged. From the moment the United States entered the conflict, Moscow has used powerful words to condemn the action. President Vladimir Putin described the American airstrikes as absolutely unprovoked aggression, a move he claimed had no basis and no justification. He warned that such actions were pushing the world toward a very dangerous line. This strong language is a clear signal to the international community that Russia stands firmly with Iran on a diplomatic level. It aims to challenge the legitimacy of the United States military intervention and build a narrative that frames Iran as the victim of Western hostility. Beyond strong statements, Russia has engaged in high-level diplomatic meetings to show its solidarity. On June 23, 2025, the Iranian Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi, traveled to Moscow to meet directly with President Putin. During this crucial meeting, Araghchi delivered a personal letter from Iran's supreme leader, which was understood to be a request for increased support. In response, Putin publicly pledged to assist the Iranian people, a promise that, while vague, carries significant weight. These meetings are more than just photo opportunities. They are a visible demonstration of a deepening partnership, designed to reassure Tehran and warn Washington of Russia's commitment. At the United Nations, Russia has taken concrete steps to shield Iran from further international pressure. Working alongside China and Pakistan, Russia proposed a Security Council resolution on June 22 that called for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire. This diplomatic maneuver attempts to use the institutions of international law to halt the American and Israeli military campaigns. Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister, Sergei Ryabkov, has also reinforced this position, calling the Russia-Iran partnership unbreakable and publicly affirming Iran's fundamental right to self-defense. These actions position Russia as Iran's primary defender in global political forums. However, Russia's support primarily remains in the realm of promises and political backing for now. While Moscow and Tehran signed a 20-year strategic partnership earlier in 2025, the agreement notably lacks a mutual defense clause, meaning Russia is not obligated to join the war. There are reports that some Iranian officials are dissatisfied, hoping for more tangible military aid, like advanced air defense systems. Calls are growing within Russia to provide Iran with military support similar to what the United States has given Ukraine. For now, Russia's help is a powerful diplomatic shield, but it has not yet transformed into a military sword. China's approach to supporting Iran is fundamentally different from Russia's. It is quieter, more measured, and centered almost entirely on economics and trade. Beijing's primary role is serving as Iran's economic lifeline, a position it has held for years. As Iran's largest trading partner and its biggest customer for oil, China provides the crucial revenue that keeps the Iranian economy functioning despite crippling United States sanctions. This financial support is more critical than ever during a time of war. The oil trade allows Iran to fund its government and its military, directly undermining the American strategy of applying maximum economic pressure to force a collapse. While China has condemned the violence, its diplomatic language has been carefully calibrated to avoid direct confrontation. President Xi Jinping has urged for calm, stating, "If the Middle East is unstable, the world will not be at peace." China has consistently called for a ceasefire and a return to diplomacy, positioning itself as a potential peacemaker rather than a party to the conflict. This strategy is designed to protect its vast economic interests in the region. Over 40% of China's oil imports pass through the Middle East, making stability a top priority. Beijing's calls for peace are therefore as much about securing its own energy supply as they are about helping Iran. The strategic partnerships between the two nations provide a formal basis for this support. China and Iran signed a comprehensive 25-year strategic partnership in 2021, covering a wide range of economic and security collaborations. Furthermore, Iran's inclusion in Chinese-led organizations like the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and BRICS has pulled it deeper into an economic orbit outside of Western control. These connections create a network of support that insulates Iran from complete international isolation. Through these platforms, China can offer diplomatic and economic assistance without committing its own military forces to a distant and unpredictable war. Crucially, China has shown no signs of providing direct military aid to Iran. The White House has confirmed that there is no evidence of Chinese weapons or military personnel being sent to the conflict zone. Instead, China uses its economic leverage as its main tool. For example, it can help stabilize Iran's economy, while a war in the Middle East puts strain on Western economies through higher oil prices. In this way, China's support is strategic and self-interested. It helps Iran survive, distracts its main rival, the United States, and reinforces its own status as a global economic power, all without firing a single shot. When comparing the support from Russia and China, a clear division of labor emerges. Russia acts as Iran's political and diplomatic champion, using its powerful voice on the world stage to defend Iran's actions and condemn its enemies. Moscow's support is vocal and confrontational. It engages in high-profile meetings, makes strong public promises, and uses its veto power at the United Nations Security Council to protect Iran from international censure. This role is that of a vocal ally, willing to engage in a war of words with the West and offer the promise of future military assistance, creating a shield of deterrence around Tehran. China, in contrast, plays the role of the silent but essential economic provider. Its support is less about words and more about money. By continuing to buy Iranian oil and maintaining robust trade links, Beijing provides the financial resources that Iran desperately needs to sustain its war effort and prevent an economic collapse. This support is practical and pragmatic, focused on ensuring Iran's survival as a state and a trading partner. China's calls for peace and stability are driven by a need to protect its own vast energy and trade interests in the region, making its approach more cautious and less confrontational than Russia's. The difference in their approaches stems from their distinct global strategies. Russia, already deeply at odds with the West over issues like Ukraine, sees the conflict as another front in its direct geopolitical struggle with the United States. It is more willing to risk direct confrontation and use inflammatory rhetoric. China, however, sees itself as a rising economic power whose interests are best served by stability, not chaos. It benefits from distracting the United States but is wary of a wider war that could disrupt global trade and energy markets upon which its own prosperity depends. It prefers to wield its economic power from a distance. Ultimately, this dual support system is critically important for Iran and has significant implications for the world. Iran can withstand the pressure from the United States and Israel because it has both a political defender in Russia and an economic benefactor in China. This backing ensures the conflict does not become a one-sided affair, prolonging the crisis and making a simple military victory for the West unlikely. For the rest of the world, it signals the rise of a multipolar order, where American power can be effectively challenged by a coalition of countries working together to counter its influence and pursue their own strategic agendas.